New York City, it's the Wendy Williams Show. Here's Wendy.
Heartbreaking news. Wendy Williams is suffering from dementia and aphasia. Under Wendy's name, her care team reveals after undergoing a battery of medical tests, Wendy was officially diagnosed with primary progressive aphasia and frontotemporal dementia. It says aphasia is impacting Wendy's language and communication abilities, and it calls her dementia a progressive disorder impacting behavior and cognitive functions. Shocking allegation from Wendy Williams.
I am not cognitively impaired, but I feel like I am in prison. You understand what I'm saying?
Wendy says she's being held against her will at a long-term care facility in New York City.
I'm in this place where the people are in their 90s and their 80s and their 70s.
Wendy is making the claims in two separate interviews in what seems to be an orchestrated FreeWendy campaign. She has been under a court-ordered conservatorship since 2022 after she was found to be suffering from dementia and deemed permanently disabled.
Hey y'all, it's True Crime Queen. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today we're taking a deep dive into the complex and heartbreaking story of talk show queen Wendy Williams, her ongoing conservatorship, and the heated debate surrounding her well-being. From allegations of exploitation to Wendy's own emotional pleas for freedom, we're taking a deep dive into what everyone's wondering. What the hell is going on? Wendy Williams, known for her controversial approach during her days in radio and on The Wendy Williams Show, is a daytime TV icon. But behind the scenes, her health and personal struggles are taking center stage. Wendy has been open about her battles with addiction, Graves' disease, and most recently a diagnosis of frontotemporal dementia and primary progressive aphasia, a condition that impacts communication and behavior, according to the New York Times. In 2022, concerns about her health and finances led to a court appointing a legal guardian to oversee her affairs. The decision, however, has sparked a wave of controversy. Wendy last filmed her popular talk show in the summer of 2021 after 13 years of being on the air, and a year later, a court appointed a legal guardian to oversee her personal and financial affairs, according to court records. A court appointed an independent guardian to oversee her affairs after Wells Fargo, which was involved in her finances, initiated guardianship proceedings in 2022. According to court documents submitted by the guardian, who was ultimately appointed, Wells Fargo had documented a pattern of unusual and disturbing events related to Wendy's welfare and finances. The specifics of the powers granted to the guardian, Sabrina E. Morrissey, are not clear because the court sealed many of the related court filings. Sabrina wrote in public court papers that Wendy was diagnosed in 2023 with frontotemporal dementia and aphasia. Aphasia is a language disorder that affects your ability to speak and understand what others say. You might have trouble reading or writing. It usually happens after a stroke or traumatic brain injury, according to the Cleveland Clinic. Concerns about Wendy's health and well-being came to a fever pitch in 2024 when Lifetime aired a documentary called Where is Wendy Williams?, which gave fans a disturbing glimpse into her life since leaving the show. The documentary raised more questions than answers. Wendy's family and friends argue that she's being exploited, while her guardian, Sabrina, insists the measures are in place to protect her.
So my mom made me power of attorney because at that time, the banks were trying to, around that time they started accusing the family of doing things that weren't true and saying that my mom wasn't fit to make choices on her own.
When I was in Miami, all of a sudden, my American Express card wasn't working.
I miss my family.
Sabrina, whose identity was concealed during the taping of the documentary, tried to block the network from airing it, but failed. Sabrina is currently in a civil dispute over the documentary with A&E Television Networks, which owns Lifetime.
One story said that what triggered the guardianship is that you had taken thousands of dollars from your mother's account.
I've never taken it without her consent. I've always spoken to her, and she's always wanted me to spend her money. She's always like told me like, Kevin, if you ever like need something or whatever, just ask me and like, you know, what happened. And she would always like communicate with me.
When the whole process started, all members of this family were contacted about Wendy and what we needed for her. You know, my feeling as her sister was Wendy needs to have somebody with her 24 hours a day for the next few months. I was asked, would I consider being guardian? I said, I don't know what being a guardian involves. I was told that it involved taking some kind of class. You know, I said, yeah, I'll do it. I said, whatever I got to do. And, you know, I'll be focused on Wendy's health. And then all of a sudden, the wall came down and there was nothing.
Wendy broke her silence during a phone interview on The Breakfast Club, which was released on January 16, 2024. Her message? She doesn't believe she's cognitively impaired, despite what her guardianship suggests. Wendy described her life as being trapped in a, quote, luxury prison, isolated from her family, and limited in her communication. She even shared that she only has $15 to her name and lives in a care facility where she feels out of place.
I am not cognitively impaired, but I feel like I am in prison. You understand what I'm saying? I'm in this place where the people are in their 90s and their 80s and their 70s, and even when people are 60 like me, hey, I'm sexy and gorgeous. You know, I don't care if they're 50 and 60. They have like, look, there's something wrong with these people here on this floor. And I'm not saying something bad. I have breakfast, lunch, and dinner right here on the bed. All right? I watch TV, I listen to radio, I look at the window, I talk on the phone. All of my stuff is in storage. You understand what I'm saying?
Her niece, Alex Finney, questioned the need for such strict control over Wendy's life.
For 3 years, this is the reality. This has been our lives, but specifically her life. That room that she's sitting in, she's there every day, all hours of the day, every week, every month. She's not getting proper sunlight. I went to New York in October to visit her, and the level of security and the level of questions that there were in terms of who am I? Why am I here? What's the purpose? I mean, it was absolutely just horrible.
I don't know whether I'm allowed to fly to Miami to say happy birthday to my dad. That person that you talk about who's holding me hostage.
Sabrina Morrissey, your guardian. We got to say her name. We got to put her name out there. Sabrina Morrissey,
well,
her guardian.
I'm exhausted thinking about what if I can't see my dad for his birthday? You know, at 94, you know, the day after that is not promised. It's not promised. Like, I want to give my dad some sort of fragrance. You know, I want to go to Sephora and pick and choose. What? Right now, I feel, my life is like up.
According to NBC News, Roberta Kaplan, a lawyer representing Sabrina in the A&E lawsuit, said in a statement, in part quote, that Wendy suffered from a degenerative brain disease that has no cure, and that the state court had found her to be legally incapacitated and not capable of making legal and financial decisions on her own. Unfortunately, because of her diagnosis, Wendy's condition will only get worse with time, and she will require care for the rest of her life. But as anyone who has had a family member with dementia knows, Wendy has both good and bad days. It is truly a shame that there is so much voyeuristic attention to this right now, since it only leads to the same kinds of exploitation that we saw in the so-called documentary, as alleged in our complaint. End quote. The whole controversy has sparked public outcry, with hashtags like FreeWendy calling for her freedom. Wendy's supporters argue that her voice is being silenced and highlights an even bigger issue with the conservatorship and guardianship systems. It's a heartbreaking plea from someone who feels trapped in a system that's supposed to help her. In the wake of several other controversial guardianship cases, including Wendy Williams speaking out about her conservatorship and New York Attorney General Letitia James' investigation into guardianship providers, Senator Anthony Palumbo from New York is renewing his efforts to reform New York's guardianship system through the passage of Carolyn's Law. The legislation provides a mechanism allowing family members and friends to visit loved ones under guardianship and conservatorships. The bill is named after Carolyn Montanti, a senior and victim of the guardianship system whose loved ones had been denied visitation rights. Carolyn's Law prevents a guardian, care manager, or power of attorney from terminating visitation rights and isolating vulnerable individuals who are being held in involuntary guardianship. The bill provides for the ward or family members who have been denied their due process rights to be heard and have an evidentiary hearing before the court within 10 days of bringing an application, according to the New York Senate.gov website. Is Wendy being protected, or is she a victim of a broken system? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and let me know if you want me to cover the story and any updates in the future. Love you for watching. Bye.